he originally was. Okay, so I mean, this is like a common thing, right? And I feel like we've all been through it. And if you haven't been through it, then either you've never had casual sex, which, good for you, or, you're just really independent woman who can handle all your stuff and not get caught up in anything. And that's great. But I want to talk about why this happens, how this happens, and it's not what you think. Because enough already with, a woman's worth and her worth as a wife and her worth as a girlfriend and her worth in life as a human being having anything to do with her girl parts, with her pussy, with her reproduction. That has nothing to do with her worth as a human being. As a matter of fact, it's not even doesn't even signify her humanness, because there are other mammals that are not human that have the same reproductive kind of system. So it doesn't even determine how human we are. So what happens is whether it's religion or culture, misogyny, we get this idea that, what we're giving up is so incredibly special. And once we've given it up, we've opened ourselves up to a situation where now he's in. And now whatever he does, I'm attached to. And if I don't end up with him, then I'm a whore because I've given him the most special part of me. It's a whole story that we tell ourselves. I've definitely told myself that story. I've talked to men and women, and men tell that story. If a woman's been around too many times and, I don't want to get with her because she doesn't respect herself and all of that stuff. And, there is validity to that. In some cases, there are women who don't necessarily respect themselves and they end up sleeping with the wrong man and, whatever. However, it's really dangerous that we have this idea that that your pussy in any way indicates your worth, and whether you've used it a lot or used it not, and that indicates what caliber of human being you are. Also, actually, I think it's the whole reason that women, we find ourselves in this predicament where when we've slept with someone, we really feel like we've given them something, and so now either they owe us something back, or now if they don't want to be with us, then they've used us in some way. But let me tell you something. The reason that the using your sex and your sexual parts are of no value, not saying that you're not special, you're very special. The reason that it's of no value as far as your humanness is concerned is because having sex with a man, having sex with anyone, has never kept them connected or in a relationship with you. Now, don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean that you don't have to practice safe sex, and that doesn't mean that you can't have a set of morals or whatever you believe is right and wrong and make the decision not to have sex or be celibate or whatever works for you. I'm not judging that. But what it means is that, you're not going to be able to win anybody over with it, because we all have it. And if they don't get it from you, they can get it from someplace else, or if they're getting it from you, they can get it someplace else. And the reason that that is the case is because it really doesn't have the value that people put on it. Now, here's the thing. So what is it that does have that value? What is it? What is real vulnerability? What is really opening up to a person? A lot of times we mask vulnerability. We mask and protect ourselves by using sex. Like, so I can pretend that I've opened up to you, and then I can be a victim of the fact that you don't want to be with me, or that you're not that interested anymore because I've opened up to you. And I can keep believing my own story that, men can't be trusted, or that no one can be trusted because, look what happened. I gave up the cookies and, he gave them back, or whatever. But what we fail to do, and this is not to make any woman wrong, but when we're not willing to share the human things that actually do make us valuable, when we're not willing to offer those things, and we offer sex in its place, we put ourselves in a position of not having the results that we want. So we can say that we want a connected relationship. We can say that we want long-term, that we really want it to work. But if all we're trading is sex, beauty, food, superficial things, the stuff that we think will keep a man, we can't say that we're angry when we don't get to keep him. Now, here's the other side of that. What is it that we do need to share? Or what is it that does suggest that we're actually sharing our vulnerability? Sharing your dreams. Like, what do you dream about? What is something that you dream about that you don't necessarily share with everyone else? I mean, maybe you're someone who's very open with that kind of thing, but there's a lot of us out there that have big dreams for ourselves, and we're, afraid to pursue them and afraid to share them and afraid to make a new dating prospect part of our desires in that way. Sharing your fears. Talking about what makes you afraid in life, like what stops you, what keeps you from pursuing your dreams, what has you not having a great relationship with someone in your family, those things that you don't want to talk about, that you think that maybe someone's going to judge you for. I mean, that's vulnerable stuff, right? So being able to share that stuff, and I'm not saying share it like in a desperate way, like you want somebody to fix it for you, but just being able to be honest about what's going on with you, like what exists for you, what's in your life. We all have issues, we all have stuff going on, and when we're secretive about it, we're just keeping back what makes us vulnerable. Number 3, telling the truth about your feelings and owning them and being responsible for them. So a lot of times we date and we will give up the pussy, but we will not share how we feel about anything. Oh, no, what's wrong, baby? Nothing, I'm fine. Or, how did you really feel about that? Well, it was okay. When inside we're like, it was so fantastic. Not sharing what you really feel because you think acting hard or acting like, oh, well, if it wasn't a big deal, that, a man won't think you're too into him, or he won't take advantage of you, or, whatever. I mean, that's definitely holding back your vulnerability, right? So trusting someone after you've been betrayed is number 4. That is a big, huge, vulnerable thing to do. That's way bigger than giving up the cookies. Being able to trust someone after someone else has betrayed you, being able to trust someone after that person has betrayed you, just actually putting yourself out there with the risk of getting hurt again, that is vulnerable, and that is huge. That's valuable and human, something that you're really giving to someone. Number 5, sharing your boundaries. Like really being able to say to someone, what you're doing is not working for me. Like, I can't be with you, while you're snorting coke. It's just not gonna work for me. As opposed to pretending like it is okay. If you have sexual boundaries, being able to share that, not giving up the pussy, but being able to say, look, what you're doing is not working for me, or that's too far, or I don't like that. Can we try something else, or can we not do that? Like, honestly sharing that with someone and telling someone that without being angry, without trying to be hurtful, and just coming from a real place, that is vulnerable, because you never know what they're going to say back to you, right? That's real sharing of your humanness. Number 6, telling someone how special they are without expecting anything in return. So when we have a feeling about someone, and this goes against all the games. I know what's coming up probably is like, oh, well, if I tell him I love him first, or if I tell him I like him or I'm into him, it's going to scare him away. He's going to get all weird. Listen, if how you're feeling is real and you want to share how you really, truly feel, and you want to tell him that he's great, or you want to tell him that he's special, or whatever, and that's what's really coming up for you, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And yes, you are being vulnerable and you are taking a risk, and he might say to you, great, and not have anything to say back. And you have to be able to be with that, because you are a strong, independent woman. You have to be able to be with the fact that you sharing your authenticity is not in order to manipulate something back to you. And like I said before, you sharing your authenticity and you being vulnerable in that way is so much more valuable than the pussy, and so much less manipulative when you don't expect anything back. You get that? It's number 7. Doing things differently just because you want to, or just because they want to. So let's say, you're used to going on dates where people take you to certain restaurants or do certain things, and then you meet somebody who dates differently than anything you've ever experienced. Being open to what someone else does that may be a little bit out of your comfort zone. Now, I'm not saying, crossing your boundaries, you might get hurt or anything like that, or you feel like you're going to get hurt, or getting in a place where you're, too scared and anxious to even function. But But being willing to like maybe, veer off the beaten path, have a little adventure in your dating, and not needing for it to be so specific, like it has to be a 5-star restaurant. We have to go, to whatever is the hottest club right now, or we have to, make sure we take a walk on the High Line. And, that's the only kind of date that I really think, if he doesn't know all the right places to be, then I really can't date him. But you can meet somebody who's really great, who likes to do really fun stuff and can open up a whole new world to you. And just being open to that is being very vulnerable. And it's so much more valuable than what you have in your pants. Number 8, admitting when you were wrong. So no matter what stage of the dating process you are in with someone, there is so much value in that kind of vulnerability. It's like such a human attractor. So you really want to connect with someone, and you really want this long-term thing that you talk about wanting. Being able to admit when you were wrong about something and just own it and just be okay with it and be with it, no matter what the response is, and just let it be that. It's huge, it's valuable, and it's vulnerable. Number 9, when you share anything that's important to you, whether it's something that you're working on, something that you're excited about, maybe a project, something that you're changing in your own family, or something that you're affecting in your own family, relationships that you've improved outside of your relationship, something you're up to at work, whatever that is, like sharing those important things, that's valuable, that's vulnerable. You're taking a risk. You don't know what his feelings are going to be about it. It's not about that. It's not about whether he can understand it. It's not about whether he's into it or as excited as you are. But being able to do that without attachment is very vulnerable. And then the last one, and I think the most important one, is not needing to be anyone but exactly who you are when you're with that person. That is like the true mark of vulnerability, the true mark of authenticity. Not needing to pretend like you're smarter than you are, like you're more sexually adept than you are, or that you're tougher than you are, or I don't know. There's like a million things that we try to just look good, like looking good all the time, right? And I actually did a blog article about this, the looking good. I think some people confused it with, oh, you shouldn't wear hair and makeup and lipstick and, dress nice. And that's not what I was talking about at all, because, I'm into those things. But when I'm talking about looking good, I mean like trying to make someone believe that you are something that you think you lack, or that you think you're not enough of. Like if I have a story that maybe people think I'm not so smart, or, but I'm going out with this really smart guy and I like smart guys, I could be in that story and then trying to pretend to look smart. Or I could just be authentic and just be who I am and just, see what I can learn in the situation. And you know what? People who look to learn always seem smart. People who are willing to ask questions and are open and can listen, those people always come off as smart, because it's real. It's not trying to do anything or make anything or force anything to happen. And that comes to sort of like the wrap up, right? The conclusion. It's about forcing, manipulating, making, and sex is just another tool for what we think will manipulate the situation. You will not get emotionally closer to a man by having sex with him. If you do have sex with him, your human value is not in any way diminished. And if he shuts down or is out or, opts out of the situation, he has found no connection with you, and you got to be with that. And if you are the woman who wants to be able to have that kind of casual sexual life, great, own it, be with that, and don't be attached. Don't get attached when you've made that decision, because you're not going to rope anybody in heart-to-heart connection with your girl parts, with what's in your pants. It's just not going to happen. So, yeah, that's it for Terrace Talk for today. I think I've let you know everything. If you're on YouTube right now, definitely hit the like button. I like likes. And feel free to subscribe, because I do at the very least 3 vlogs a month, and then sometimes 4 blogs a month. 4 vlogs a month. Anyway, thank you for being here with me, especially if you're in New York and you're, in this rainy day, and hopefully I'm with you after work, so while you're getting all warm and cozy and all that good stuff. So yeah, just remember to be authentic and Enjoy yourself. Have fun. Enjoy dating. Dating is so much fun when it's done with authenticity. And don't put so much pressure on it. You are valuable. You're a valuable human being. It has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with your vagina. So remember, what you think, what you speak, you create. So be mindful of your magic. I am Candice Harper Love Coach.